Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thrive. I'm Susana Kennedy, and today we are speaking about the 3 myths of resilience.
Resilience. It's a very complex concept, resilience. And it is the ability to not just survive, but thrive in the face of adversity, loss, trauma, and change. Resilience is a capacity that you can nurture, that you can develop, that is born from within. It's something that you really need to work on from within yourself. So it's the ability to keep going, but not just keep going, to thrive regardless of what life throws your way.
We all face challenges. How do we move through these challenges, not only in a healthy way, but how do we then actually have a happy, thriving life despite the challenges that we're moving through? And so that is why it is so important to understand what resilience is, the myths around resilience, and how to really anchor it into your life, the practice of resilience into your life. I think that's exactly where we're going to start with Gabi today, is just defining what resilience is, and then we're going to move on to really clarifying 3 myths about resilience that are good to clarify, that are going to empower you moving forward. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thrive. I'm Susana Kennedy, and I'm super excited because I've got the wonderful Gabi from the Resilience Factory. Today, we are speaking about the 3 myths of resilience. So I want to welcome Gabi into studio. How are you doing, Gabi?
Extremely well, thank you. It's a beautiful day in Cape Town, which is wonderful because it's been so rainy and wet, and very good. Very, very good.
Good. It is a beautiful day. I was so excited this morning. You guys can see I'm in short sleeves, but it is because it actually is a lovely sunny day in Cape Town. But I can see people are tuning in on Instagram. I'm going to check Facebook now as well. How are you all doing today? And where in the world are you tuning in from? I always love to know where in the world people are tuning in from, as we do have a wonderful global community here on Thrive. So just give me a wave and say I'm tuning in from there, and then I'll give you a shout out in just a few minutes. As I said, today we are speaking about the 3 myths surrounding resilience. Gabi, before we get into that, perhaps you could give us just a little bit of a brief introduction for the listeners who haven't met you before. Okay. As to what it is that you do and why this is important that you are running these 3 myths surrounding resilience today.
Thanks, Susana. So I'm Gabi Lowe. I live in South Africa with my husband, and I have 2 children, one who's in heaven and one who is with us on earth. I run a coaching nest, the Coaching Nest, which is a coaching practice where I do one-on-one resilience coaching, executive coaching, life coaching. I have a second business called the Resilience Factory that I run with Pippa Shaper, and we have co-authored a model on authentic resilience. And the model is called the 10 R's of authentic resilience, and we teach it online all over the world. Both Pippa and I are professional qualified coaches, and we both do a lot of work in the NPO space as well. I run an NPO called the Gabi Lowe Trust, and she's deeply involved with an NPO called Home from Home. And both of us have suffered an awful lot of loss in our lives and came to this work on resilience from a very authentic place of needing ongoing resilience. And so looking back on our lives and through all the lessons we've learned from the inordinate amounts of loss that we've both suffered, we have taken that, plus a lot of reading around resilience, plus a lot of case studies and work done with our clients over the years, and formulated this model. So today we're not going into the model, but we're talking about some of the myths of resilience, which really is important because I think very often it gets set up incorrectly.
Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I see Daphne is tuning in. I see Darcy, Asani, lovely name, Asani. and so many more. Lauren Dalmeida, all the way from Portugal, welcome. I see that Sandy, Ravin have tuned in. Maram, she says she's a proud Thrive member. Thank you, Maram. And Brett has tuned in as well, and lots more. So Gabi is a dear friend of mine, just so that you guys know. And the reason why I have her on the show is because I truly believe in her work. I truly have seen what she has been through, and I can see how she has handled it, and I can see how she helps other people in similar situations, dealing with crisis, dealing with loss, dealing with heartache, moving through that. And she does it with such grace and such love. And we can all learn so much from her. So I'm not sure who is tuning in, who actually has something at the moment that they are going through, but inevitably it's everyone. All of us are feeling incredibly challenged by different things at the moment. Gabi lost her daughter, and she continues to face immense challenges. But we all have different challenges, different levels. It could be that you lost your job, coronavirus thing that is happening at the moment. So everybody has challenges. Tell me, do you understand what resilience means? Because I know that we've got people tuning in from India, from all over the world. And so when we say resilience, do you understand what the term resilience means? Because I think that's exactly where we're going to start with Gabi today, is just defining what resilience is. And then we're going to move on to really clarifying 3 myths about resilience that are good to clarify, that are going to empower you moving forward. So just give me in the comments below, yes, I know what resilience is, or no, I don't. I'm not very clear on what resilience is. I see thumbs up coming. You guys can comment below. While Gabi, if you can maybe just clarify what the term resilience actually means.
Okay. So resilience is a suitcase word. There is so much that goes into resilience. It's a very complex concept, resilience. But Pippa and I have come up with our very own definition of resilience, which is that it's a critical life skill, and it is the ability to not just survive, but thrive in the face of adversity, loss, trauma, and change. Because for a lot of people, they find change is very anxiety-making. So there's an awful lot that goes into resilience. It's so easy to think of it as just bouncing back. In fact, if you Google what is resilience, it's going to tell you bouncing back. And I will tell you that is not true. That is not what resilience is. Resilience is a capacity that you can nurture, that you can develop, that is born from within. It's something that you really need to work on from within yourself. So it's the ability to keep going, but not just keep going, to thrive regardless of what life throws your way.
I love the way that you described that, because we are on the Thrive Network, but we all face challenges. How do we move through these challenges, not only in a healthy way, but how do we then actually have a happy, thriving life despite the challenges that we're moving through? And so that is why it is so important to understand what resilience is, the myths around resilience, and how to really anchor it into your life, the practice of resilience into your life. I see a lot of people have said yes, not really, 1 or 2. So I hope that clarified it for you. If you have a friend that would benefit from this, please tag them in the comments below, whether you're watching a recorded version of this or whether you're watching it live. I come back to comments afterwards. So just tag them in the comments below so that they can join in the conversation. So let's kick it off now, Gab. What is myth number 1 that you've come across that disempowers people around resilience?
Absolutely. So myth number 1 is exactly what I said just now, that resilience is about bouncing back. So it really frustrates me because still today there are authors writing about resilience who make this the central tenet of resilience, and it's not true. So anybody who's been through great trauma, loss, adversity, who's facing stuff, and in fact we all do, you will know that there's no bouncing back from hectic trauma. If you really experience trauma, you don't bounce back from that. It takes deep intentional work and time to recover and to heal and to get to a point where you can then thrive again. It's not a bouncing thing. And I think that it's really sad that people write about resilience as bouncing, because it sets up this, it sets us up for failure. We're not going to do that. And the point is that if you go through trauma and you do bounce, you can be guaranteed you haven't done the internal work that you need to do in order to really assimilate and work with that trauma. The other thing is the back part. We don't go back. If you've been through abuse, divorce, loss, the death of a child, anything like that, you don't ever go back to what you were before that experience. You assimilate it into your life. No, this is still the bouncing in the back.
Still part of myth number one. Yeah.
So that's why I really freak with this myth number one, because it talks about bouncing back. And so that's the thing. We don't bounce and we don't go backwards. What we do is we grow forwards. We assimilate that experience into our life. And I think the work of resilience is around integration. It's about integrating those experiences into our life, learning from them and using them to power you forward with that new experience, the new person that you've become. So that's myth number one, is about bouncing back. And it really has nothing to do with that. It's about integration, it's about growth, and it's about moving forward. And about time.
And about time, and that is something that Gabi and I have spoken about. In South Africa at the moment, we have the highest levels of sexual abuse, sexual violence that there have been, I think, ever. With this lockdown, it really has brought that on. And Gabi and I have spoken about this because, as you guys know, I've been through that. And that frustrates me as well. That is a myth. So many people just expect that person to just bounce back and be fine. Okay, it happened, let it go. But it takes time. It takes gentleness. It takes very conscious work to overcome traumas that happen in your life. And the other thing is that you are forever changed. There is something intrinsically about you that is forever changed. And you can find the gifts within that change, because there are gifts within that change. But you are forever changed. And that's okay. It's acceptable. And that's something that always drives me nuts. Gab, I'm sure you've encountered it as well, where people expect you to not be changed and go back to how you were, a year later or whatever it is. And it's just not possible. So for anybody who is dealing with this at the moment, give me a thumbs up if you get what I'm saying, and give me a thumbs up or a heart if you understand that you need to be gentle with yourself, that these things take time, and that it is a process. Just do that right now so that I know whether you're watching this recorded or whether you're watching it live. I do see you guys all there. Thank you for all the beautiful messages that are coming through. All right, Gabi, let's go on to myth number 2.
Okay, so myth number 2 is that resilience is all about being tough and strong. Absolutely not true. So yes, there's part of resilience which is about being hardy, about being persistent, about having grit, about having perseverance, but it's only a small part of resilience. You'll remember what I said in the beginning, that resilience is a suitcase word and there's an awful lot that goes into it. So think about this. If all it was being tough and hardy and pushing through, that is not sustainable. You cannot be on that level every single day. You will crash and burn. It's insanity. So when we talk about authentic resilience, we are looking for the kind of resilience that is pliable and flexible, that is going to allow you to understand when you need to be gentle with yourself, just what you were saying just now, when you need to set things aside and sit down and actually take a break, when you need to be gentle with others and allow people in and really see and understand your own vulnerability. The problem is, if you're tough and strong all of the time, you can be guaranteed that there are a whole lot of emotions that you are ignoring or suppressing or denying. And that is a recipe for disaster. Because if you are suppressing and denying those emotions, they're going to come back to bite you. Stuff that is left in the dark festers and becomes bigger and becomes more powerful. Things that are brought out into the light and dealt with, including the vulnerable, fearful emotions, are more pliable. You can work with them, you work through them, and again, you integrate them into your life. So it's really not all about being tough and strong. And if anyone here who's listening has been through trauma and you are having difficult emotions, conflicting emotions, sad, traumatic, all of those, you need to go to somebody and get that dealt with professionally, because you have to work through that stuff. If you suppress it, it's going to get worse. It's going to come back and really be the undoing of you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I always say that the only way to release the pain is to actually allow yourself to feel it and let it go through you, you know, and a lot of people battle with that, which is understandable, because sometimes it just feels so overwhelming, you know. So I do understand. For those of you out there, I can see there's a lot of hearts, a lot of thumbs up coming up. You know, for those of you who are going through a tough time, I so fully understand that sometimes it feels too overwhelming to actually even approach the idea of allowing yourself to feel what needs to be felt so that it can be released. But I've got to say, we heal what we no longer conceal. And if we're shoving everything away, then it doesn't have the opportunity to actually heal. And once it is released, you're not carrying it anymore. So that's always my invitation, is be brave. You know, bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is doing the right thing despite the fear. Be compassionate with yourself within that bravery, but allow yourself to go through the process and get the right help. You know, the right support systems are really essential. I cannot say this enough. I believe this with every inch of my being, and that's why I connect you to people like Gabi and the other amazing teachers and coaches I have on Thrive, is because there's no need for you to go through the struggle alone. You know, there are incredible people that surround you, that are available to you to assist you through this process. So that is really, really important. So Gab, let me let you carry on then with number 3.
So before we go into myth number 3, I just want to say, Susana, you're absolutely right. It is so vital to reach out to those that you need. And it's a strange thing that it's so hard for us as humans. And I don't know if that's around pride or ego or just fear that we will be rejected, but you need to ask for what you need. You know, we social beings, we're wired for connection. We need that support. And to think that you can go it alone, especially if you're dealing with trauma, is a misnomer. You know, we really do need that support. So just to support what you just said there. And it ties into it. Sorry.
And it goes both ways as well. You know, if you know somebody that is going through a trauma, you know, sometimes they don't have the words to speak, but just a message saying, I'm just thinking about you, I'm sending you love, is something that can be more supportive than you can even imagine. So does anybody on this call now know somebody who would benefit from you sending them a message? It takes you 2 minutes to just say, I'm thinking of you and sending you love. Like no need for anything in return, just sending love. Just give me a thumbs up in the comments. I see thumbs ups coming up. Good. Because you can do that and it costs you nothing, but it can make the world of the difference in somebody else's life. So sorry, Gabi, please continue.
And it doesn't mean we need to solve it for them. It just means that we need to be there to sit with it with them, you know, to bear it with them. That's the thing. So the third and important myth here is that people think that resilient people don't do emotions. You know, they just don't do emotions. That's absolutely not true. And to be authentically resilient, you really need to learn. One of the things you need to learn is exactly what we're talking about now. How do I sit with and bear and just hold my emotions? All of them, the difficult ones, the joyous ones, the easy ones, the spontaneous ones, but most of all, the really difficult ones. And I think we get so scared that we will be completely overwhelmed by emotion. The thing is, emotions can't kill you. Running from them might, because you'll become so stressed and you will feel it in your body and it'll sit in your cells. But emotions themselves can't kill you. Yes, when you've just been through a major trauma, you need to protect your psyche. but your psyche will tell you. So there'll be moments where you just need a break from thinking about it. So you may just watch some mindless television, or go on social media, or read, take a break, go for a walk. Sometimes we just need that break. But I'm talking about a little bit later after a trauma. You actually need to train yourself to sit with and bear the difficult emotions. So one thing that we find it hard to acknowledge is that everyone in the world, everyone, even the person that you know that you think is the strongest person, has vulnerability. We all have vulnerability. When we try and banish our vulnerability, when we don't face up to our vulnerability, then we are doing ourselves a disservice, because only, and I know this sounds weird, but I believe it with every cell of my body, only by embracing our vulnerability, understanding our vulnerability, that is our pathway to courage. You can't step over it, you can't go around it. If you don't embrace your vulnerability and allow it, every day there'll be pieces of you that feel vulnerable. If you don't allow that, then you're never going to find courage, because there is no act of courage that doesn't include some vulnerability. You know, an act of courage means there's risk of emotional exposure, there's uncertainty. That's what an act of courage is. So living with an open and courageous heart is very much part of authentic resilience, but it's not part of the kind of resilience that people describe when they talk about bouncing back. And that sort of resilience, I just know that long-term it doesn't work. It might get you through something today, but what you want is you want skills and tools to get you through the whole of life, which is still going to throw things your way, even if you feel you've had your share, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's two things there that I wanted to say. So because I know a lot of the people that watch this know that I believe in the body-mind connection, you know, and when Gabi speaks about feeling your emotions, that's not going to kill you. When she says your emotions are not going to kill you, festering emotions can cause dis-ease. You know, things that you don't deal with, things that you suppress and you hide, that can cause dis-ease. But if you actually allow yourself to feel the emotion, even if you feel like, and guys, I've been there, so I know, even if you feel like it hurts so much that it's going to kill you, allowing yourself to feel that emotion is not actually going to kill you. It's the suppressing of that that's going to cause the disease. It's the hiding that away that is actually going to cause the dysfunction in your entire system. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that that's very clear to everybody, because I think that it's very, very important. And then the other thing is, you know, I know that it's an old way of thinking that still exists in pockets of society today, where boys don't cry and, you know, just get on with it. And the more you put on a brave face, the cooler you are, or the stronger you are. And yes, there are times when you need to be brave. But as Gabi was saying, you know, resilience is about being brave, but bravery does not come without vulnerability. And so the only way to move forward is embracing all these aspects together in a really conscious and healthy way, and finding the balance within that. Finding the spaces where you can be vulnerable and where you can allow yourself to deal with these things. And that's why I always say coaching is such a great thing. And also just finding space by yourself is such an important thing. Is there anything else? It's 3 minutes to 11. Is there anything else that you want to add that you feel like people should know, Gab?
Well, there's so much, but I think that the important thing, if I'm pulling on what you've just said right now, is you can't get there if you don't have time alone with yourself every single day. So it is a practice, and you used that word right in the beginning. Authentic resilience is a practice. It's something that you need to be intentional about. So I'm a resilience coach, but I can tell you that there are days that I don't feel resilient. And when I don't, I go back to my wellness practices. I go back and look at what am I not doing to keep myself resilient. And all of the time, well, in my case, all of the time, the things that have fallen off are the things that I need the most, like times of reflection, my meditation times, the times just sitting and journaling. And journaling is a beautiful way to really deal with your emotions, because very often when we wake up in the morning, there's so much going on subconsciously. If you can sit down and journal, then those emotions that are sitting there almost muddying the waters of the day, especially muddying if you haven't acknowledged them and really thought about them. If you journal about them, you've cleared the water for the day. And you have a better chance of going through the day really knowing what's going on for you. So I think that maybe what I haven't yet said is that awareness, self-awareness of every part of your being is very much part of authentic resilience. So listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to your heart, listen to all four, spirituality as well. If you don't listen, and when can you listen? You can really hear your inner voice when you are still and quiet. But if you don't listen to those, you're going to be going through the day unconsciously. And that's not going to help. You need to really be in tune in order to be authentically resilient.
Absolutely. Guys, it is almost 11 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock every morning, I howl and say, thank you, thank you, thank you. But what started out as a thank you, thank you, thank you, I really just want as a positive vibration in the world. It's about making us feel good. It's about raising the global vibration of positivity. So I'm going to do it now. I hope you all join me. And I'm just going to say thank you, more please, which is one of my favorite sayings in the world. So 1, 2, 3. Oh! Thank you, more please. Because there are so many gifts in life. Even with all the chaos that is happening, even with all the challenges. Gabi wrote one of the most beautiful books. It is one of the most heart-wrenching and heart-warming stories all in one go, called Get Me to 21. And I highly recommend you all read it. It's really, really beautifully put together. And the thing that really struck me when I was reading it, because I snot cried through many sections, was also the joy and the love that was captured within that book. Following the journey of a mother who is fighting to save her daughter's life, and you still experience the joy and the love. And that is resilience. That is resilience. It's moving through insurmountable obstacles with a sense of love and joy still contained within you. Let me know if that makes sense to you guys. Give me a heart, a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Please, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching a recording of it and you feel that somebody else would benefit from it, tag them in the comments below so that they get to watch this and empower as many people as possible. If you're a Thrive member, remember that you get all kinds of specials. In fact, Gabi and I are going to be launching a group. Gabi runs resilience workshops, and Thrive members are going to be able to join that group and be able to do an online resilience course. So for any of you that are interested in that, I will be putting up the link super soon for you. And I am tagging Gabi in the comments above, so you can check out the Resilience Factory. Her work is phenomenal. And yeah, thank you so much, Gabi. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here today. It's always just such a blessing to connect with you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's a blessing to connect with you too. Absolutely. Okay, darling. Have a great day.
Thank you. I'm just going to wrap it up on this side. Amit is saying, Susana, you make my heart warm by saying thank you like this. Good. I hope you do it every day. Thank you for being in our lives. Absolutely a pleasure. I saw another comment that came through. Oh, right. This is a good realization. Wonderful. I love it when we have realizations during the show. Always nice to see you. Thank you. Always so informative and true and love, filled with love. Take care. Take care to you too, Brett. Thank you so much. And I saw some other comments on Facebook. pleasure. Thank you. More please to you guys as well. Justine is saying, I absolutely 100% agree. True. Daphne says, Dilip says, displaying and embracing your vulnerability is key aspect of being a servant leader and your true, authentic self. Absolutely. I love that, Dilip. Thank you for sharing that. We've got somebody tuned in from Botswana. Lovely. It's nice and calm in Alaska. Wonderful. Heart appears for Dam. Okay, I'm trying to get to all your comments, but I can't because there's so many of you. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. So much love and gratitude to you all for being a part of the Thrive Network. Many blessings. Bye for now.